Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so happy New Year's Eve, everybody. We're on the cusp of 2025. One day left, and we still have a game left before we exit the year. And that game is against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh boy, best team in the Eastern Conference, maybe the best team in the league. Them and what's the Thunder? Maybe the Celtics. Those are the three teams that come to mind when I consider who's the best. Cleveland has the best record, I believe it is. Um, and yeah, we got to face them tonight here in Los Angeles after getting blown out by them earlier in the season. So, yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, they handed us our first loss. Might have been that game there. So, yeah, we have a tough task ahead, man. They're on a 7-game winning streak, beating up on literally everybody. It's not even worth talking about how easy each game has been. I watched 5 of their highlights. All of those games were pretty much blowouts. The last game they played last night, they are coming off a back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors. They beat them 113-95, and they just got a lot of good stuff going on with their three-point shooting right now, man. Let me see if that's what actually told the story yesterday. 18 out of 47, so they're shooting a lot of threes. They're hitting a lot of them too, 38% on that game, and that was one of their lower shooting games as it pertains to makes. So this is a team that's just really, playing great on both sides of the floor. They steal the ball a lot. Last night they had 10 steals, 6 blocks. That's kind of a theme as well. They get so many stocks. It's not even funny with Allen and Mobley and those guys. They're all over the place. They have a lot of assists on the usual. They only had 25 last night, but that's like rare there. They usually have about 30. So this is a good team, man. A very, very, very elite basketball team to be exact. And they didn't have any trouble with the Warriors last night. They really didn't, man. In some of the other games that they've played, as I try to look at stats here while I still have an opportunity to do that, 9 more days to have my extra phone. I'm gonna get the most out of it. But yeah, they beat the Denver Nuggets. They dropped 149 points on the Denver Nuggets. They beat the Utah Jazz, dropped 124 points on them. They beat the 76ers by like 30, almost 27, something like that. Dropped 126 on them. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks by 23, dropped 124 on them. They beat the Brooklyn Nets before that, dropped 130 points on them. It's like, my God, man. 115 on the Wizards before that. That's what the winning streak has been. I didn't watch the highlights from the Wizards game, but they just beating the hell out of everybody, man. They're beating the hell out of everybody. If you look at these scores, 130, 101, 124, 101, 126, 99. They're killing you by scoring a lot of points, and they're stifling you on the other end. It's madness. Their defense has waned off against Utah. That was the closest game of the highlights. 124, 113 was the closest game they had. And of course, again, 149 on the Denver Nuggets. And of course, their defense came back around against the Golden State Warriors when the Warriors only scored 95 points to their 113. So this is not the team you want to come in with new players on our roster. Of course, we just made the trade for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. Thank you, D'Angelo Russell, for your services, but he will now be a Brooklyn Net unless he gets bought out, which is something that I've been hearing about. Maybe the San Antonio Spurs will show interest if he does get bought out, so pay attention to that. But that's kind of what's going on. Max Lewis is now in Brooklyn. I'm sure he's going to continue his development there. Somewhere down the road, we'll see him in their uniform. So, yeah, man, I don't think this is the game you want to be incorporating new people in and not having a facilitator, as we've often talked about, outside of LeBron James and Austin Reeves, for which I just don't believe is going to get it done as it pertains to facilitating the ball to people who need it, like Rui Hachimura and, DK and some of these other guys who are really relying upon, being recipients of passes on those two guys to make basically the entire engine run. I think we should call up Jalen Hood-Schifino, although he is on the injury report. I have reasons to doubt that actual injury is even there. But that's a whole nother story. So the Lakers have been playing better ball. If anything, we're glad we're running into them this week instead of earlier in the month where we were awful. But we've gotten our defense together. We've really pulled ourselves together. We beat the Sacramento Kings 3 times over the last couple of games. The last one was a 132-122 win. We beat the Warriors on Christmas Day. Of course, we lost to the Detroit Pistons, of whom I keep calling the Miami Heat, but it was because of the uniforms they were wearing versus ours. It kind of looked a little more like Heat uniforms. But nevertheless, we did lose that game by 3, but it was a pretty close game. We had a chance to win it. We had a couple of good games against the Kings before that, and we had beaten the Memphis Grizzlies as well prior to that. So, after that tough stretch on the Eastern Conference road trip that we had, where we just kept losing to everybody and all these different things, since the 8th of December, we've kind of gotten our act together, and we hope to continue that against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a game where we're obviously not favored. I don't even need to look at the spread to know we're not favored. This team's, they only have 4 losses, and no one expects for them to lose tonight, if I'm being completely and utterly honest with everybody. Nobody should expect the Cleveland Cavaliers to lose tonight, but I do expect the Los Angeles Lakers to put up a hell of a fight, and this Cleveland team is beatable. The teams that beat them, as I just scroll through their situation, once to the Celtics, twice to the Hawks, believe it or not, and then once to the Heat. That's it. That's only, everything else is a win, bro. Everything else is a win through 30 games. So there's still a lot of season left. 32 games to be exact for them. There's still a lot of season left, but they have firmly established themselves at the top of the Eastern Conference. And we'll see if that changes. Injuries can knock them off. We know what Cleveland looks like when they miss certain players. But as of right now, they're pretty much fully healthy and very much difficult to beat. So, that's really what it is, man. I just am trying to look at some things on my phone to get some more information, particularly the injury report. And we'll see how long it's going to take for that to load up. But, at the end of the day, Los Angeles Lakers won 4 of their last 5 games. Basically against the Kings, more or less. Everybody against, the Kings and the one game against Golden State. Other than that, that's all we've really had. I don't know if that's a great test trying to prepare us for this matchup. Probably not. Not given the way the Sacramento Kings have been going. But at least we saw ourselves play better basketball. So your injury report goes as follows. The Los Angeles Lakers have Anthony Davis as a game-time decision. Of course, that's standard. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out. He needs to not be with what I see coming. LeBron James, game-time decision with the illness, but of course he'll play. Yesterday was his birthday. This is the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's playing. The Vanderbilt's still out, but we got some good news on Vando. He should be back at the end of January, as our target was initially supposed to be. He's now doing non-contact drills, so that's really encouraging. Gabe Vincent's a game-time decision, also very encouraging given the fact that he had a strained oblique in the last one. Didn't know if he'd be available. He's ready. And Christian Wood is still out. No word on Christian Wood. But our new guys are not on the injury report, which tells me they should be good to go. They were at practice yesterday. I don't think they practiced, but they were there. They met everybody, and that was fine for them. And I think we'll have them. I think we'll have DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith. We got to get used to calling him what DFS. And Shake Milton, man. We'll see what these guys can do against the best team in the Eastern Conference, man. Of course, your Los Angeles Lakers are going to be wearing their yellow uniforms at home, which is rare, right? Rarely do we see our home uniforms at home. And the Cleveland Cavaliers will be wearing these. I could actually show them to. They're going to be wearing those. So, yeah, that's really what's going on there. Some type of burgundy there for those who are listening. Burgundy and wine. Wine is burgundy. Gold is what I'll say. Wine and gold. Uniforms, fully wine. It's actually not a bad looking uniform. So, yeah, man, that's what we got going on for tonight. Looking forward to seeing the debut of Dorian Finney-Smith. Hopeful that I'm completely wrong about the continuity issues that ultimately moving on from D'Angelo Russell could potentially provide certain units. I think JJ's going to have to get tricky about how he utilizes Bron and Austin to make sure that facilitator is on the floor at all times. And those guys are going to have to be unselfish enough and heady enough to look for the people around them instead of looking for their own. And Austin's a guy who he's a great passer, but he tends to look for his own. He's hunting out fouls, and Bron tends to do whatever he wants to do. So you know how that goes. Hopefully we play smart ball, man. We need to not turn the ball over too much against Cleveland Cavaliers. If anything I notice about the Cavs, they do turn the ball over a little more than what you would expect an elite team to. So that might work in our favor a little bit. But ultimately they find ways of killing you from behind the arc, man. Guys like Sam Merrill, let's see who else is on this roster that comes to mind. I won't even have to go through the memory deck to try to figure out these names. But the first name coming to mind is Sam Merrill. Off the bench, he don't miss very much, man. Let's tell y'all right now. Him and Dean Wade are hitting threes left and right. Dean Wade looking like Dwayne Wade out there these days. He's really developed fantastically over the last couple of years with the minutes given. And now my phone doesn't want to load, of course. But, obviously Donovan Mitchell always kills us. He gets to the line a lot, so we need to be aware of his propensity to get to the line against the Lakers. who else? Darius Garland is playing like an all-star right now, and it's going to be difficult to get past Allen and Mobley, who are both playing like all-stars, both very healthy, and I just think that the Cleveland Cavaliers are a pretty complete team. When you talk about a team that's elite on the defensive end, elite on the offensive end, they're both. They are both, and fully healthy. I mean, it's just a perfect storm to kick your tail. Yeah, this is a dangerous situation. They got George Niang coming off the bench hitting threes. He tends to hit big threes too. You got to be careful with him. He knows how to capitalize on momentum. Ty Jerome's been hitting the three ball pretty well. He's been great off the bench. Max Strus has been a little cold, but don't count on him staying that way. Plus, he tends to make his money on the defensive end, so you got to be careful with him. Porter Jr. is a nice young player they don't utilize a lot. Jalen Tyson's one of my favorite rookies they don't utilize a lot. Tristan Thompson's on the back of this bench somewhere. JT Thor is on the back of this bench somewhere. They got a lot of guys, man. They do. They're not doing bad. There's a couple other players on their G League situation that I'm really excited about that they don't use. So Cleveland's went from a rather shallow team, in my opinion, to a deep team, and things have worked out. I didn't like the Max Strus or the George Niang contracts, but those guys have worked out. Ty Jerome was just a throw-in. He was like a throwaway from the Golden State Warriors. He looked great in this system. As I said, Dean Wade is a guy who was kind of as a role player, not really doing much. Now he's getting double-doubles and hitting threes and blocks and stuff like that. It's just, if the Cleveland Cavaliers win the East, it won't be a surprise to me. I'll tell you that right now. It won't be a surprise to me. Best record in the NBA right now. Obviously, they need Jared Allen and Mobley and Garland and Mitchell to stay healthy. But as long as they continue to get stuff out of the Niangs and the Merrills and the Struces, Caris LeVert, you need not forget about as well. He tends to kill us, man. This dude, Caris LeVert, tends to have great games against the Lakers. So if you don't have him circled as somebody who's going to likely harm us tonight, then you're going to be caught off guard by something you shouldn't be. Caris LeVert tends to have big quarters, big third quarters against the Lakers. 25 points, 20 points by himself. He's done this more than once, man. So don't be surprised if it happens tonight. They're just a really complete basketball team that, with the Twin Tower effect and the two elite guards, just make for an impossible team. And this is what I thought they would be when they first put Mobley and Allen together. And it just simply took a couple years for it to manifest. But I predicted they would be this good about 3 years ago. I was wrong. I was 3 years late. Now you're seeing what it is that I knew was coming. Mobley's turned into some fantastic player, man. He had a game where he went for 40 a couple nights ago. This is something you can expect from him. His offense has come around. His defense is always around. And he rarely fouls, which is why people think of him as like a Anthony Davis prototype. He's basically AD, several years behind without the three-point ability, for which AD doesn't really take advantage of. So I'd say they both shoot threes about the same. But Evan Mobley is a fantastic defensive player. He moves very well laterally for his size, and his length goes on for weeks. And he has a shot blocker extraordinaire next to him. And Allen, it just makes it impossible to deal with this team defensively. And then you got two, arguably the best backcourt in basketball in that same situation, with Garland now stepping into his own as a bona fide star, and Davion Mitchell is a bona fide superstar. Both should be all-stars. I could argue, I'll make a strong argument that the Cleveland Cavaliers deserve 4 all-stars this year. Garland, Mitchell, Allen, and Mobley should all be all-stars. They should. They just should. They've only lost 4 games on the season. All 4 of them have been balling like crazy and are healthy. Evan Mobley has the ability to get assists off, steals, blocks, scoring, rebounding. Jared Allen blocks shots every night, gets steals every night, dunks the ball every night, boards every night. Offensive rebounds are going to be a thing. You definitely want to win the rebounding total against this team, and with them having the length that they have, it's going to be tough. Your bench unit is important in this game. You're going to need guys to contribute tonight in a very real way, our Los Angeles Lakers. I wouldn't try to break the mold tonight. I know that we're going with our regular starting rotation. I think that that's probably the way to go. It's going to get a little tricky when you start talking about how to rotate people, because, of course, now that you have D'Angelo Russell out, you're going to be leaning on Austin and Austin and LeBron a bit more without D'Lo. So, we need to really, get some stuff down there that we know will work against a team that doesn't allow you for you to take chances and have any success. I'm encouraged by our offense. 132 points dropped on the Kings. I don't imagine that the Cleveland Cavaliers will allow us to do that, but if we're shooting very well, we might have a chance against them. But I'll tell you this, our three-point diet, is going to have to we're going to have to be efficient from behind the arc to even have a chance. They're going to attempt 40-something shots they're likely going to hit 20 of them from behind the arc. It's just what they do, man. They're a very good three-point shooting team, and they shoot a lot of them, just like good teams do, in this era. Our turnovers got to be down, but they're going to force some. So it's a clear-cut situation here. They are a much better team than us. It's not close, but we have still arguably the best players on the floor in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, even in this matchup. I don't know that any of those four players are better than our two there. So if LeBron and AD have monster games, I think we're going to be right there with the Cleveland Cavaliers, whether they like it or not. We got to hit our free throws tonight. This is not a night where you don't want to go to the line. They get to the line, so you need to get there. You need to hit them. And, that's really what it is. I just expect the Los Angeles Lakers to show up, because usually when we have a matchup like this, we do. Last time we saw this team, they embarrassed us. I think people were still in the dark about how good Cleveland had become. I don't think they're catching us off guard tonight. We know who they are. We know this is an elite club. We know we're at home where we play better. And I expect for us to do our best to protect this house against an elite basketball club. And if we do that, and we show up the way we tend to show up when games are like this, we sometimes, we walk out here with wins. Sometimes we beat teams that are supposed to be better than us. They think we're a lowly team at this point underneath them or what have you, and forget that that's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If the Cleveland Cavaliers come in thinking that we're going to stumble over them, they could lose tonight. They could really lose tonight. That's really what it is, and that's what I hope we see. So, shout out to Rob Pelinka for making the trade. Like I said, there's more work to do. We gotta get our facilitator, man. That secondary facilitator is far more necessary than I think most of the talking heads are giving it, and that's why I try to put such an emphasis on that. I don't think our team is going to look good at pockets at a time. We're going to have some scoring droughts that we're not used to, things like that, some me-ball situations that we're not used to until we get that facilitator in that unit. So that's something I think the Lakers should be trying to do. So that's something that I don't think we can. I don't think we're going to be as good as we want to be until we get that piece again. You let D'Angelo go, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But as we always said, if you're going to let go of that piece, you had better bring it back. And we didn't do that in this trade. So Markelle Fultz may be available to us. Maybe Lonzo Ball gets bought out or something like that. That would be a piece. Maybe some type of trade can be made to get us that piece. Maybe even Jalen Hood-Schifino can finally be believed in. And people can stop making the same mistake they made with other young players like Scottie Pippen Jr. and, of course, Max Christie, who's showing us he's great right now. People give young players an opportunity. Maybe they can do something, Just because we made a mistake in taking him over certain other players does not mean that he just completely sucks and can't help your basketball team. I think that's what the mistake is the Lakers are making with Jalen Hood-Schifino specifically. And mind you, he's considered out tonight. He's not playing tonight, but the mistake they're making with him is because they made such a bad decision in drafting him, they're automatically aligning that decision with the capability of the player, and that is just not right for you, Lakers, especially now without D'Angelo Russell. Y'all got to snap out of that bull crap and get that kid on the floor and develop him to be what it is you should be developing him to be, whether he's supposed to be what you drafted to be, him to be or not. I think that is your responsibility. If you're going to trade him, that's something I'm not going to push back on, but at the end of the day, if you can't make a trade, or if you're going to try to force a trade to get a player that doesn't have the upside he has, or the size that he has, because that's a big part of this too, 6'6", mind you, I think you're making a big mistake. And that's something that I want to say. If you think Shake Milton's going to be that facilitator, I don't know of him to be that. The numbers tell me he's not going to be that. And so we can't make the same mistake a lot of people made with Gabe Vincent. I think Gabe Vincent was going to be a ball creator of passes for others. He could play some point guard. No, you need a specific thing, Lakers, and I'm going to keep harping on it until you bring it in. This is crucial. It's very crucial for the success of your ball club. Far more crucial than people are giving it credit. So I think we need to use Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think we need to incorporate him as a passer into our lineup. Someone looking for AD, someone looking for DK, someone looking for Rui. You need that piece. And if you don't have it, your offense is going to be trash. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Looking forward to this game, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're playing with house money. We're at home against a team that's significantly better than us. I would love for us to put up a fight and have one of our best games of the year tonight. I really would. No rolling over, especially on a night like this. It's New Year's Eve. Cleveland Cavaliers, day after LeBron James' birthday. They beat the hell out of us by like 30 points last time we saw them, something like that. We got to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. I don't give a damn what their record says. I'm not interested. We got the best 2 players on the floor. We got height and size. You bringing in Dorian Finney-Smith, that's another 6'7" wing that should be able to be comparable with what it is that we need in order to beat them. No excuses, man. They dropped 134 points on us in the last time we saw this team. That's the stats I'm looking at. We did not have a good game against them. We gave up 41% from behind the arc. We only shot 21%. That's not going to cut it. I know this is a good defensive team, but, you know, they had 14 steals against us in the last game on 21 turnovers against them. If you have a night like this, again, it's going to have the same result. 134 to 110. It can't happen. So we got to get our act together against this Cleveland Cavaliers club. They got the size and all that. Allen had a field day against us, if I'm not mistaken. It was a real Allen game there. Check out those stats. Yeah, he had 20 and 17 against us last time. You know, we gotta try to do something about that. Garland went for 12 and 10. Donovan went for 24 and 7 assists, 3 steals. So, you know, the 21 turnovers for the Lakers, you know, that's not something we can do anything with. And you know, I expect that we have a much better Max Christie this go round. You know, Dalton Connect's going to have to find his confidence against this team. Of course, he had 18 points in the last game. He also had 18 points against Cleveland. Hopefully he can rectify and try to duplicate that, if nothing else. And we just need to show up, man. Austin had a poor game against them. Rui had only six attempts from the field. That can't happen. Only 1-3 attempted against Cleveland. That can't happen. We need Rui to step up. We need Austin to be big. We need our new guys to step into their roles rather quickly. We need Christie to continue to score and defend. We need all of that, man. I think Jackson Hayes should be available to go tonight. I don't know if we'll utilize him or not, but it was good to have him back. Gabe Vincent, hopefully he'll feel good enough to go. We could use his defense. We could definitely use his shot making if he's able to hit shots, for which he's cooled off a little bit. But we need everybody, man. This is an all hands on deck team effort type game. If you don't show up and be a unit, you're going to get blown out like everybody else against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that is pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. Bye.